Welcome back, boys. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions CV, and welcome to another 3 Talking Points video after that disappointing defeat to Man United last night, which knocked us out the Carabao Cup. Now, for me, I'm personally disappointed because it means that we're not going to see other young academy players getting any more opportunities in this tournament. Honestly, it's really disappointing, but the 3 main talking points I will be focusing on for today's video is going to be Frank Lampard, analysing Reece James's performance last night, and of course Hudson Odoi and whether he's overrated. Now, before I get into anything, if you do like today's video, do not forget to smash that like button. Help me get over 1,500 likes for today's video. But anyway, we start with the first talking point, and I want to talk about Frank Lampard and the risks that he takes. Now for this point, I'm going to analyse the pros and cons to being a manager that likes to take. Now for this point, I'm going to focus on the positives and the negatives regarding Frank Lampard and the risks he likes to take. Now the reason why I'm talking about this is because last night I thought Lampard was being bold again, but I didn't think it paid off. We're currently in a situation right now where the squad is quite thin. So this means that guys like Marcos Alonso have to play more games, and it means that our midfield constantly have to play games every single time they've had no opportunity to rest. I think this is why we saw quite a different lineup in yesterday's game. Lampard was thinking, I need to rest Mason Mount. He's 20 years old, he can't play at this intensity week in, week out. But did Lampard make the right decision in playing Billy Gilmour in that position? I don't think so. And I think if you're going to play Billy Gilmour, you need to play him in the pivot where he can dictate the play and control the game. If we were going to play the same way, I don't understand why Tino Anjorin didn't play. I mean, Anjorin suits playing that style. He presses from the front, very physically strong. He has an eye for goal as well. But most importantly, he would be the player that would connect Pulisic and Hudson Odoi, allowing these 2 players to move between the lines and link up, as well as posing the ability to make runs in behind and finding good areas to attack. And that was one aspect in which we definitely struggled against Man United in yesterday's game. And I think that if you wanted to play Billy Gilmour, you should have been brave and decided to leave either Cover or Jorginho on the bench because, you know, we're playing against Watford later this week. And the last thing I wanted to see was seeing both Cover and Jorginho playing the full 90 minutes against United. Nini, why are you bringing this point up in the first place? Well, the reason why I'm bringing this point up is because I feel like maybe Lampard has created the situation for himself where the squad is quite thin right now. Already this season, we've seen him bring back Kante and Emerson prematurely. You know, playing Emerson against Liverpool, I can see why you want to do that. You know, it's a big game, a lot of pressure on Frank Lampard, but the risk didn't pay off. And now Emerson is struggling to find full fitness, and we miss him. It's the same thing with N'Golo Kante. What is happening with Kante? It feels like every single week we're hearing things like he's 1 week away. Yet when that week comes, he's still another week away. I understand that clubs like to keep these things under wraps, but I'm starting to get a bit worried now. Kante has not been able to fully rest. You know, Sarri and Lampard have been rushing him back too quickly. You know, I bring up Sarri because in the final against Arsenal, did Kante need to start that game when he wasn't fully fit? I don't know. And it feels like he's struggled to find his full fitness ever since then. And when you're putting so much extra load on players, they're human. It's only natural that they may suffer. Now, does this mean that Frank Lampard isn't good enough and he's overrated? Of course not. You guys should know me by now. I'm not going to be scared to critique when I see it. But at the same time, because I've got perspective, with Lampard's bold nature, I personally believe that as we look back on his career and over time, that boldness is going to work in his favour more than it works against him. Now, to end this first point, the one thing that we need to accept is that Lampard himself is still new. He doesn't have as much experience in the managerial game. He's done really well so far. We've seen that he's a top quality coach, but at times, sometimes you need that experience behind you to understand what to do in certain moments. So I'm not going to use this against Frank Lampard. Of course, to be in this situation, it is difficult. But knowing Frank Lampard, he's a guy that always learns from his mistakes and he comes back stronger. Now, for the second talking point, I thought, why not praise Reece James? I thought he was a big positive last night, and let's analyse his game and how he played. Now, what I like about Reece is that he's very comfortable moving the ball in field to find passing options. Again, great play, great improvisation. Finds Callum, continues his run. Great crossing as well, barely any backlift. And what I like about Reece's crosses is that he puts so much spin that it makes it easy for strikers to finish those chances. You know, it's so much top spin on the ball that just really dips, and it's fast, it's flat, it's accurate, and it's why he's such a great crosser of the ball. Obviously continuing on, wins his tackle there. Okay, he didn't win that tackle, my bad, you guys. A bit sloppy in that situation, but you know, stuff like that you get much better in. Of course, keeps the ball, keeps it moving, and I thought he was very comfortable playing out from the back. That's what I love about Reece. You know, he constantly finds the solutions. You know, how many times do you see Aspie switching the ball to the left-hand slide to, you know, force a play there? He doesn't do it enough. And I've always felt with Aspie, he's a player that, you know, his body position is a bit too close all the time. It needs to be more open to help us play out from the back. And because it's close, it means that Aspie tends to play passes backwards, and of course that's quite negative and doesn't really help us create attacks. Anyway, I'm going to continue on, you guys. What does Reece do here? Unlucky, but you know, you can see what he's trying to do. Wins that header with that power. You know, he's tank-like. Reece there, and what a cross this is. Now, this is what I was saying earlier, you guys. If we had an Andrew in play being in that area, a guy whose natural instincts is to attack that ball and put it in the net, could have been different. This is the type of delivery we don't see enough. You know, I see teams like Liverpool and Man City constantly playing crossing opportunities like this. Look, perfect way. How is no one scoring from that? I don't understand. You know, it takes everyone out of the game. Very unfortunate there. Uses his strength very well, uses his body to protect the ball, plays it back to the keeper. Reece switches the ball again, constantly does that. Yeah, wins the tackle, boom. Oh my God, what a cross. What a top quality cross from Reece. This type of delivery you never see from Aspie, and this is why so many of us feel so confident about the player. With more game time, with more experience, he'll produce moments of quality like this on a more consistent basis, but that deserves a rewind. How many times is Aspie in this position? He's not really attacking the spaces, you know? He puts a cross in from deep, that's flat, that has no spin, and it's very easy to defend against. But with Reece, you cannot defend easily against his crosses, and that's why I rate the player so highly. Look here. What a cross. Oh, if only the forward was able to get in front of his defender. I mean, that's a guaranteed goal. And with delivery like this, you're guaranteed to create a lot of opportunities. Top player. I mean, what a ball in. You never see that from anyone. Reece again. Great pass. Great reverse pass. Cool. Yeah, of course, Rashford nutmegs him. But, you know, Rashford's the only player I know. He creates that yard of space, and what does he do? He should have got the ball, just hit it down the flank and ran after it using his pace, but he's an okay player. He's not a top class player. Anyway, Reece is good enough to get back in position and win that ball back. Oh, I mean, what? Come on, you guys. Look at that Tekers there. Reverse ball again. Spins Young. And you know what really pissed me off in the game? I saw Young trying to say that James dived, which really annoyed me. You know, that's what experienced players do. They look to manipulate the referees. Is what happens. But again, when are you seeing Aspie producing play like this? Simple 1-2s. You don't even see that enough in this clip already. How many 1-2s have we seen Reece play? You need to have those instincts, you guys. You need those attacking instincts, and you know, this is why he can provide a lot of solutions for us going in the future. Look at that skill then, the step over to suck Young in to win that foul. Top play. Now the clip didn't really highlight the beginning of this play because, you know, at the time Reece was boxed in the corner and he was looking for passing options to play out. Now if that's Aspie is playing the ball long and United get free possession. Reece is technical enough to keep the ball, maintain possession because he's comfortable. He plays it to Jorginho and we play out from the back. And then look at that. A top quality pass to Tammy in the end. Oh, come on. and he's, look, confident to take his man on. You guys, for me, it was a very confident performance from Reece. I was really impressed, and I think there's a lot more to come from the player. I really do believe that. I'm hoping he plays more games. And you guys, now that I finished the second point, we move on to the final point, and I'm going to talk about Hudson Odoi. Now, from what I'm gauging on social media and from fans, it's seeming like a lot of people now are starting to worry about Hudson Odoi. There's doubts in people's heads where some people may think that he's overhyped and overrated. And sections of the fan base are now starting to doubt whether Callum's always been as good as people say. And the main consistent argument I'm seeing from people is that Hudson Odoi is overhyped, and it feels like people's critique towards the player is more a retaliation towards people that they feel have been overhyping the player. Well, to understand why people may feel that people overhype Hudson Odoi, we need to understand why they feel that way in the first place. Now, Hudson Odoi's had a history of success within the club setup for years now. You know, he didn't just turn good a year ago, he's been one of our top young prospects ever since he signed for the club. And this is why the club have so much faith in the player. They've developed him, they've seen him grow, they've seen him improve as well. And we should know already, a club like us is not going to put so much faith in a young player if they're not good enough. And I think one thing that really highlights Hudson Odoi's qualities is that guys like Conte and Sarri were forced to have to use him because they realised that, wow, this guy really is that good. And with both previous managers, we've seen that at times, they can be a bit pragmatic with their use of youth. Now, was Hudson Odoi really that poor yesterday? Of course, at times, there were moments where his quality wasn't as high. I think that the effort he had on goal, where he definitely should have scored, it was disappointing not to see that effort go in the back of the net. It felt like it was perfect, and you know, I'm not a hypocrite. I criticised Pulisic for a similar moment, so I'm not going to hold back on Hudson Odoi. As I say, these guys are great players, top high-class potential. I am not going to patronise amazing top prospects. But was Hudson Odoi really that poor against Man United? Now, I'm going to use Who Scored so we can break down Hudson Odoi's performance last night against Man United. As we can see here, Who scored Hudson Odoi a 6.4 out of 10 compared to Pulisic that got a 6.2 out of 10. So if you click on Hudson Odoi, we go to the stats and the figures. He had a very good pass success rate, playing 4 key passes. Now, he played a key pass in the start of the game. He played the last 3 key passes in the second half where the team were much better. We played much quicker, and we did this by switching the play constantly from left to right to catch out Man United's defensive positioning. And is it really a surprise that these passes come when Hudson Odoi is playing down the left-hand side? I don't think so. I mean, let's not forget that great through ball pass he played to Mitchell. Mitchell slipped. I didn't take advantage of that. But if he did, and let's say he scored from that, I think fans would see things differently, and maybe Hudson Odoi isn't going to get critiqued as much. I mean, even looking at the key passes, Hodson played the most key passes in that game last night. Of course, it was disappointing that most of his runs didn't really pay off. Down the right-hand side, he really struggled in that sense. And, you know, Callum's game's always been about cutting inside, moving between the lines, and having that creative and attacking output. Down the right-hand side, he can't really do that. He's forced to stay out wide in a position where he can't really make runs in behind or link with anyone. So when Lampard made things different in the second half, it was no surprise that Hudson Odoi began to influence the game a lot more. Now, listen, I understand when it came to his finishing on goal, it wasn't great. He had a great effort, as I was mentioning earlier, that he was definitely supposed to score. He had 2 other very good efforts after that, but he wasn't fortunate enough to score them. Still, should we hold that against a young 18-year-old? An 18-year-old that's now starting his first full proper season. Under Conte and Sarri, he didn't play as much. So I think that we need to have that perspective of understanding and sympathising with Hudson Odoi. You know, to be through on goal and to score your efforts, it takes a lot of experience. It takes a lot of composure. And Hudson Odoi can only build that up the more games he plays. I personally feel like a lot of fans maybe that are doubting Hudson Odoi might be holding the fact that the contract situation between him and the club was going on for too long and maybe they can't get over that. Well, I have to say, I'm sorry, it's a business. Do people really think that Hudson Odoi personally himself is the one that's controlling what happens? Of course not. That's why he has his agents to do that. That's how football works. If anyone had an agent, they're gonna follow their advice because the agent's role is to get you the best possible deal. It happens in all aspects of life. I don't understand why it's being held against Hudson Odoi as if it was his idea in the first place. Of course not. If your agent tells you, listen, I think you can get more money, then of course you're gonna listen to him. Who's not? And to end this point, I'll be mentioning perspective all the time. There's another player that's in a very similar position to Hudson Odoi. His name is João Felix, and he's signed for like 115 or 125 million for Atletico Madrid. Now this guy also has world-class potential. It's why Atleti spent so much money on him, but when you look at his stats for this season so far, they haven't really stood out or been too remarkable. Of course, 2 goals in La Liga, 1 assist, 1 goal in the Champions League, but seeing the positions he's played, of course, that's not going to help him. Again, he hasn't really stood out too much. Now, does this mean that Felix isn't a good player and he isn't going to fulfill his potential? Of course not. And the funny thing is, Atleti fans understand that and respect that. They see his potential, they know the type of player he can become, they understand that he's playing in a new league, he's playing in a team that's unfamiliar to him, and it's going to take him time. There haven't been any doubts surrounding the player, no one's holding his transfer fee against the player, and there's a lot of support for a young guy that has world-class potential. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to support your players as fans, especially guys that have come through your academy and guys who are 18 and now starting their career. You know, I'll be honest with you guys, I've always been a bit annoyed with this sense of fan entitlement that I'm seeing in the modern game. I mean, I understand it, you know, football's so expensive, watching it on TV is so expensive. You know, when you create this culture with fans, you know, you can't expect them to not have guarantees that they want. You know, they want guarantees, they want instant success. And I think this is where this entitlement comes from. But I don't think it's right. It's not healthy. And honestly, I would be bitterly disappointed with this fan base if people started to constantly abuse or doubt Hudson Odoi and affect a young guy's confidence when he's now first starting to make his name. That would really upset me, and I hope that doesn't happen. We need to understand he's not going to be the finished article for a while now. He's going to need time, he's going to need patience. I think that this Mbappe thing has really skewered people's opinions of what an 18-year-old is supposed to do. Listen, Mbappe's situation is different. He is a generational player. He's playing as a striker for 2 teams that play non-stop attacking football. So of course he's going to get a ton of opportunity to shine. And when you're playing with guys like Neymar and co, then come on, what do you expect? All I want to say is, let's keep the faith in the player. He's a world-class potential player for a reason. He's shown it throughout his youth career. He's going to translate that into the first team. Honestly, don't have definitive opinions now when he's barely played any games, because I'll say it straight, he may look a bit stupid in the future. But anyway, you guys, they're my thoughts and opinions on that game against Man United. There were 3 talking points for me. They were the 3 main things. You know, I'm not going to put filler in my videos for the sake of it. You guys know that if I'm talking about something, there needs to be a reason for it. But on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm Nini FC. This is Lampards Risks, signing out.